Hello there, taxidermists and gentle peeps. This is Neil Woodman coming from Digital Taxidermy, and today we're going to do a video that has been requested by some of our viewers, and this is going to be about where do I start with modeling. So what programs are there, why I would want to use them, and what they are capable of, and importantly as well, cost. Which comes into it. So this is going to break down into a few segments. So first of all, we're going to take a quick look at utilities. So these are programs that will enable you to do post-processing on STLs, fix errors, and get things ready for printing. The next step is primitive modeling. So primitives are things like cubes, spheres, cones, torus, and then these programs allow you to combine them to create more complex shapes which you can use to build up your models. The next thing we're going to talk about is CAD software. Now, CAD stands for Computer Aided Design, and CAD programs are more commonly for engineering purposes and solid body modeling. So you would use them for making multi-part assemblies, dimensionally accurate models, all sorts of things like that. Then we're going to look at sculpting software, and sculpting software enables you to do a lot of things like miniatures and like these sorts of lovely textured things that you see in the background there. And then finally, we're going to take a look at the developments in VR and what that can do for you as well. So, without further ado, we'll jump into utilities. So, the first of these utilities is 3D Builder. Now, I've done a video for you before on why is 3D Builder so good, and I'd highly recommend you go check that out. That will go through things in a bit more depth. But as you can see here, we've got a file loaded in, and we can take a look at it. And this enables us to do a whole bunch of stuff inside here. So first thing is we can settle it to make sure it's flat on the build plate. You can do all kinds of things like mirror it, measure different things. You can emboss stuff, you can simplify, which is reducing the number of faces, all sorts of things to fix, repair and edit STLs, as well as kit bashing and stuff, so you can scale and rotate as well, and join multiple STLs together. Now, so this is quite a handy program for you to have in your toolbox, and the best part about it is it's free, and Windows users will either have it installed already on Windows 10, or you can go to the App Store and pick it up. So this is an invaluable tool in your modeling toolbox. Now we'll come back to 3D Builder because you can also do primitive modeling in it when we get to that part. The next in this little package is Mesh Mixer. So Mesh Mixer is by a company called Autodesk, and it enables you to import your STLs, and you can do a whole bunch of stuff in here. It's a bit more complex than 3D Builder, so I don't tend to use it a whole heap. I have played with it in the past and done some things. I'm sure once you've got the hang of it, you can do some pretty exceptional stuff with just such a basic program. Bonus is it's free as well. You can pick this up from the Autodesk website. And there's a lot you can do. You can analyze your mesh. So you can see about thicknesses, you can check overhangs, which is really handy for making sure, so say you're doing supportless models, so we can see on here overhangs that it might consider to be excessive. You can also create supports and edit things that way. We also have the ability to edit the mesh itself in place. So there's lots of tools down here. Again, there's tutorial videos on how to use this to do various things. You can stamp shapes into things. This is quite a handy tool, so you can sculpt onto stuff. So you can inflate things, and we can smooth things out, and this has different effects on the mesh. Different tools do different things. Pinch stuff, so you can do lots of things, use lots of little sculpting tools to mess with your mesh. You can also pull in primitives and start sculpting on those particular things as well. So again, you can take these and edit your mesh to create different objects. You can combine different shapes and then start pulling them about in different ways. So we can merge faces, and you can build up stuff and do sculpting. So this becomes quite a hybrid program. Not only is it a utility, but it could also come under primitives and sculpting as well. There'll be quite a learning curve to use it to its biggest effect, but as a free program, you can't go too far wrong. It definitely has its limitations on what you can achieve, though, and so it really depends on how much time you want to put in to become a master of it. There are other options out there. The next utility that we are going to be talking about is MeshLab. So MeshLab is an interesting program. It's not really for sculpting as such, but more in post-processing. So you can import meshes, repair and alter things. You can also use it to create things like Veroni shapes. So import a model and turn it into those like wireframe prints that you've seen people do. You can create those in here. It's not the most straightforward program to use, but again, it is free. This is open source, and there are various tutorials and how-tos on how to do all sorts of things with it. Not the #1 go-to program, but it does do a couple of things that 3D Builder and Mesh Mixer don't do. So it's a handy one to have in your toolbox. So the next thing that we are going to take a look at is primitive modeling. So primitive modeling is something like Tinkercad. So Tinkercad is a web-based application, again by Autodesk, and it's really simple to use. So you can drag in a box, and you can resize this box, and if you want to put a hole in it, for example, we can put a sphere in, and we can turn the sphere into a hole, and then we can group these objects, and then you've got a box with a hole. Lovely. And you can build up your shapes. So we want to cut the corner off there, and so we'll do another hole and group them, and so you see you can start to make more complex shapes just by building things up. Now, I'm not specifically going out to do anything outrageous here. I'm just sort of showing you what you can do here. So you can create new shapes, and you can build up a library of these shapes. You can import STLs and you can edit them, and all of this is done using what we call Boolean operations, which is adding or subtracting geometric shapes to create new ones. And I've seen people do some incredibly complex stuff in Tinkercad, and you can take a look at the library that they have online of various things that people have made. If we go to tinkercad.com, what have we got? What have we got? Let's have a look. Gallery, that's it. So you can see on here, these are all things that people have made in Tinkercad just by using various primitives, and they can get really quite complex. So if you take your time, you've got an idea of what it is you want to do, you can really create some interesting things. Like it's not limiting at all. Your creativity is the limit, but it can be kind of time consuming, and so it's a good place to start, and you can use it anywhere, and it doesn't require a lot of system resources. Now we go back to 3D Builder. If we go to Insert, again you can do a similar thing. So we can edit, we can subtract. So again, primitive modeling is available in 3D Builder. It's a low resource thing. You can use the various features to smooth off and edit these shapes as well. So there's the ability to do the same things pretty much as in Tinkercad in 3D Builder, and again it's free, although 3D Builder is limited to Windows users, and Tinkercad is available as web application, so you can use it anywhere really. There's no real limit to where you can use it. So that covers primitive modeling. Well, as I say as well, you can do a certain amount of primitive modeling in Mesh Mixer, but then add some other concepts in there to complicate things a hell of a lot. So, moving on to CAD software. Now, CAD software, we'll start with SketchUp. So, if we just select. So when you first jump into SketchUp, which is a web application again, you can use it for free on the web, and you can create a whole bunch of stuff. You first have this little human here that changes from time to time, and you can just start clicking away with lines, snaps on grids, and then once you've got enough lines to define a plane, you get a plane, you can extrude, and you can la-di-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, you can start creating shapes really quite easily. So you can use the up, left and right keys to constrain lines along certain axes to make sure that you are not going off plane, because in 3D space that can be a thing. It's surprisingly useful. Like, there's a lot that you can do with it. You're basically drawing out your mesh. It's easily editable. You can use this box down the bottom here to control the length of your lines. At the moment it is set to inches, but if I go like, what is it, 5 centimeters, will that work? No. I'll have to change the settings down here to allow that to be in millimeters or centimeters. But you can control your units, you can control the sizes of these various things, you can move existing lines to create things on angles or make things thinner and thicker. So it doesn't take much to build up a design, but it will take a little bit of getting used to. You may start off drawing and it goes in directions that you don't expect. Just have a little bit of patience, but it's fairly intuitive and you can get to where you want to be fairly quickly. There's plenty of tutorials online which go into it in a bit more depth. I've used this to create models before, and the tricks are easy enough to pick up. It's just a case, as always, of perseverance. So let's have a little look. So yeah, it's a case of perseverance and just seeing where you get to, really. So the advantage is it's free. You can get a 30-day trial for SketchUp Pro, which gives you an application that you can use on your computer as opposed to on the web. And with that application, there is a whole bunch of plugins that you can use, which enables you to check your model for whether it's manifold or if there's any gaps, which makes it much easier for creating models for 3D printing. I believe SketchUp costs somewhere in the region of £800 to £1,000 a year, so it's quite an expensive upgrade to go to SketchUp Pro. But if you've really got the hang of it and you want more features, that might be a way for you to go. The next one that we are going to look at is, nope, that one is a little bit later, is Fusion 360. So Fusion 360 is the first of the modeling software where we are looking at parametric modeling. So parametric modeling is where one dimension can be linked to another, and that will have an effect on the overall shape and designs. So you can relate dimensions to each other. What does that mean? Well, let's say, for example, this dimension needs to be 1.5 times this dimension. You can link them across, and then every time you change this dimension will expand automatically, and hopefully your whole model will change without falling to bits. Now, it takes a little bit of practice to do this, but once you've got it down, it's an incredibly powerful tool. This software is predominantly for mechanical engineering, mechanical and electrical. You can use it for a whole bunch of things, but predominantly it is for solid body modeling. And so it can be hard to generate the more organic shapes that you see people produce in miniatures and like natural terrain. So organic modeling is something that we'll cover in the sculpting software. There is a certain aspect of surface modeling that you can do in this, but it becomes fairly complicated. Again, lots of tutorials out there on how to start. If you've never used a parametric modeling environment before, it could be quite confusing, but it enables you to make multi-part assemblies. It enables you to add relations between those parts as well. And the important thing for me is that these are geometrically accurate and tolerant. So what that means is I can make multi-part models that will just push fit together, test print them, that comes out highly accurate. If the fit is not quite right, then I can go in, change a couple of those dimensions, and everything is great. So it enables you to be a lot more in control of your final model than a lot of the other formats for modeling. So Fusion 360 is a useful program for learning parametric design. It's got lots of features, and there are a lot of tutorials online. Fusion 360, you get a free trial. I believe it is still free for hobbyists. You'll get a survey or an application for hobby use at the end of your free trial, and it's also free for students and educators. The full price for commercial application is £438 per year, which, given the cost of some of the others that we're going to look at, is not a huge amount, but it might be something that influences your choice depending on what your usage is going to be. So that sums up Fusion 360. The next one that we will look at is Autodesk's flagship product for CAD anyway, which is Autodesk Inventor. So Autodesk Inventor is a professional mechanical design program which is used within industry to create very complex multi-part assemblies. Now, these are used to design cars, factories, machines, vehicles, you name it. They're all done. There's a whole heap of them are done in Inventor. It's very useful, and it's got a lot of features and functionality. My background is in mechanical engineering, and as such I've used in my time Inventor, Solidworks, CAD, all these sorts of things to design some very large items and complex machinery. It contains a whole host of features that you will probably never use as a 3D print model maker, such as flow testing, stress testing, or making mechanical drawings out of your assemblies and all that sort of thing. But it's very advanced 3D modeling, parametric modeling software. But as you can see, the cost of it is $2,406 per year. So it would probably put it out of the price range of most modelers. Again, though, you get a free trial, and I believe as a student and educator you can get access to it for free as well, in a non-commercial format. The next that we are going to take a quick look at here is Solidworks. So Solidworks is Dassault Systems' and this is their version of their answer to Inventor. So it's again a parametric modeling software, which you draw sketches, you extrude the sketches, you can cut, shape, add fillets, and set everything from base dimensions. This is used in industry as well. It's heavily favored over Inventor because of its ways of having more options to do the same things, so you got more flexibility with it. Now this, I believe, is more expensive than Autodesk Inventor, and so would only really apply to people that use this in other instances. So say you are a contracted mechanical designer, you might use this. This isn't really something that you will use as a beginner, but again, there are free trials. You might want to try it out, see how it works, see what you can do with it. I really like it, but that's just me. So, you know, we all have these choices to make. So that sums up CAD software and where we're at with that. And now we will go into sculpting software. So the first one that we are going to look at here is kind of a multi-tool for everything. You've got Blender, and if you are interested in 3D design, you probably will have heard people going on about Blender and how things are done in it. Blender is an interesting program. It is an open source 3D design suite. So you can import, edit, and create STLs, but it's not specifically designed for making STLs. This is used a lot for animation, making images with rendering. You can paint and edit the lighting and such. So in this specific example, UV editing, this has unfolded that cube, and we can draw onto each face of that cube or input images onto that, and it will put them around that cube. But what we're probably interested in here is modeling and the sculpting. Firstly, I don't use Blender because in times of crisis, go with what you know, and my background is with CAD, so I have stuck with CAD. My business partner Theo, he uses Blender. He is the other half of Digital Taxidermy, and he will be producing some how-to videos in the future of what you can do with Blender and how it will up your modeling game. So stay tuned for those. They will be coming shortly. We have some other videos on our channel showing some things that he has done, some speed modeling videos among other things. Blender is used as well to generate the renders for our website and a lot of the videos that we do for our Kickstarters. So it's very versatile. Modeling wise, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. Again, it's about tutorials though. You will want to use tutorials. Every time you click a button, you get massive menus with lots of different things appear that I can't get to work. So, you know, all of these things that are just an absolute mystery. You've also got sculpting as an option, which is similar to what we saw in Mesh Mixer. So you can create shapes, and then somehow you can apply these various sculpting techniques to your model, to change the shape of it, to change how it operates. It's a very, very flexible program, and I've never ceased to be impressed what Theo can actually do with it. I highly recommend checking this out. It's definitely a good starting point for you if you don't know exactly what it is you want to do, but you just want to create. The other advantage is, as I say, it's totally free. There is a massive support base for it. So you can go out there and you can learn to do all sorts of things, and your imagination is the limit when it comes to Blender. The next thing that we are going to look at is a more specialized product. So this is for 3D sculpting, and this is ZBrush. So ZBrush is specifically designed for sculpting. It's not designed for dimensionally accurate things. It is designed for making organic shapes, and for creating miniatures, scenery, all that sort of thing. As you can sort of see, it's like putting down a ball of clay, and then you shape that ball into whatever you like. It's got a whole suite of tools which will allow you to push, pull, shape, stamp, everything. It's a very comprehensive sculpting program. Now you have ZBrush, and you have ZBrush Core Mini, and ZBrush Core Mini is a free version. So this is completely free. You can download it and get playing with that, and it's a stripped down version of ZBrush. So if we just go to the main ZBrush website here, Core Mini is a stripped down version. As you can see, you can make lots of interesting shapes, animations. There's lots of tutorials on there for things that you can do, a whole step-by-step guide to making characters. So you won't be on your own with this. There's a lot of hand-holding going on. So if you want to get ZBrush, it actually comes out as quite affordable. A one-time purchase, perpetual license, so you get it forever, is $179.95, which is pretty cheap, especially when you hold that up to the CAD software and their particular uses. I'm pretty sure ZBrush are marketing this to the miniature design and 3D printing market, among other things, but keeping it affordable is definitely going to benefit them. And again, like I say, the ZBrush Core Mini is a stripped back version that you can use for free. So that kind of concludes the basics of the sculpting software. Those are your two main options, really. But now we'll take a look at the VR world. So recently we have got a Oculus Quest 2, which is a very affordable VR headset. It's quite light, it's easy to use, and on there you can get access to Adobe Medium, which is a free program. You can use it in much the same way as ZBrush is used. So you effectively, in your hands, you are holding a spray can of clay, and wherever you spray it, there will be something there, and then you can use your hands to push and pull it around, which will enable you to shape and sort out the clay into all sorts of things. Predominantly it's for sculpting organic shapes, as you can see here, but you can also do a hard surface modeling to create some very interesting mechanical like things. It's not dimensionally tolerant, so you will have to just sort of it goes much more on feel. It has some references that you can use to get approximate sizes. However, you have to really get your eye in to be able to make models, for example, that are optimized for FDM printing. As an example, this dice tower here was created in Adobe Medium, and that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun to do. Didn't take that long, actually. It's very intuitive, easy to get the hang of, and obviously there's a fair bit of learning to be done. The unfortunate thing is there isn't a huge amount of tutorials out there. There are several that will help you get started and help you get going, but a lot of it is going to be exploration. So you're going to have to make it up as you go along, basically. But you can get some very good results very easily, and with very little experience. Start out doing something small, pull in a reference image, and get sculpting. It's pretty cool. And the next is a program called Gravity Sketch. So Gravity Sketch I would kind of describe as a three-dimensional SketchUp. So you can import images and previous models from other software, and then you can draw in 3 dimensions around them. You can draw from scratch. You can convert 2D images into 3D things. You can create faces and that sort of stuff. Great for things like curves and organic shaping. I've played with it, but it is not as intuitive to use as Medium. And as such, will take a lot of practice to get used to. It is, however, I mean, it's pretty cheap. On the Oculus store, I think it's anywhere between $5 and $10. So it's worth checking out and seeing what you can do. It's still in development, so hopefully it'll only get better. Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. This might work for people that are more used to pencil doodling and stuff, a way to get them into 3D modeling. But again, this is not as intuitive. It's not as easy to just go straight into and get creating. There'll be a lot of head scratching along the way, but well worth checking out. So that kind of concludes our little trip through available programs. In summary, 3D Builder is a great utility that you want in your toolbox. It's quick, easy to use, intuitive, and it helps with your modeling no end. Tinkercad is a really handy basic starting place. but SketchUp gives you a lot of options to get more into direct design and CAD based items. Fusion 360 is your cheap parametric modeling software that you may want to take up. But really, the king of the roost, the one that you probably want to be learning from the outset, is Blender. If you have no previous 3D modeling experience and you want to start creating for 3D printing, Blender is what you want to take the time to learn. It's free. It's got a lot of features, and it will be worth the time that you invest. So anyway, I hope that's helped. I hope that's given you insight into where to start and why you might want to take those choices. If there's anything that you would like to see me cover in future videos, then drop a comment below. We will get back to you. In the meantime, like and subscribe, ring the bell for more notifications. If you haven't done so, check out www.digitaltaxidermy.co.uk and take a look at what we've managed to produce using CAD and sculpting software of various sorts over the last couple of years. And take a look at the Digital Taxidermy Buyers Club, where each month we will be giving away a bundle of STLs for just £10. That's our new subscription service. You'll get yourself some real deals in there, plus early access to some models. So hope that's been useful. I've been Neil, and enjoy your journey into 3D modeling. Okay, take care. Bye-bye now.
Like the video, follow me around. Press the bell, it makes no sound. Like the video, press subscribe. I don't know why I am alive.